Welcome to Let's Hash It Out, where we dive into topics many don't find time to cover or won't. Today we start a series to help us all discuss and educate the younger generations about groomers. Not the snow machines in the Upper Peninsula taking care of the snowmobile trails. No, grooming people for nefarious purposes. This series is called The Long Game and discusses what grooming looks like in various situations and how to pay attention and potentially what to do. But this is where you come in. If we have a lot more genuine safe spaces, watching out for our younger generations that don't have ill will themselves, there will be authority figures for victims or potential victims to turn to. When we aren't educated, look the other way for our own reasons, or are the ones causing the harm, we leave these younger generations to fend for themselves. Knowledge is power. Let's share knowledge to empower our future generations to not be vulnerable to grooming tactics so commonly passed off as charm. Let's hash it out.
If you're about 18 to 25, navigating social apps, work, dating, church, gyms, coffee shops, whatever it is y'all do these days, this episode is not meant to scare you. It's more like an upgrade in your pattern recognition from an elder millennial that cares about you. I had a need for some advice like this when I was your age, and I did not get it. So because there's this thing that nobody tells younger women, I'm going to talk about it. Grooming, it's not dramatic, okay? It's a long game, and it's going to look charming. It's not a horror movie energy. Most of you won't pick up on it. I didn't. I'm smart. I can pick up on it for other people, but man, when this energy is directed at me, it's a whole different thing, and I need you to see that, okay? So it's not the man in the van you're looking for. It's an influence. And if you've ever listened to like my podcast, Marketing is Mind Control, you already know influence is subtle, slow, and strategic. And that's the same thing for grooming. Predators don't look like villains. They look like opportunity and entrepreneurs and geniuses. And if you don't believe me, study the case of Ted Bundy. Or, watch the Netflix one with the hottie. So anyway, let's talk about this, okay? So let's hash it out here. Thanks for being here. And this episode is sponsored by Facets of Hospitality. Someone who is a business owner and needs some help with their marketing can reach out to facetsofhospitality.com. They do a whole lot of things, a whole lot of fun stuff, and it's a team behind the nerds. So anyway, thanks for being here. Let's talk about this. What groomers actually look like. Here's what they don't look like, okay? They don't look like dirty, socially awkward, clearly dangerous, cartoon level creepy style, bebop criminals floating around that you're like, well, that's a groomer. Yeah, that's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for someone who's confident, funny, calm, emotionally intelligent, well-connected, generous, protective. Sometimes they're a mentor, a boss, a coach, a spiritual guide, a big brother, that type. Maybe they're a charming older guy who just sees your potential. That's the point. The psychology is simple here. Predators optimize for access, and access requires trust. And trust requires social credibility. Social credibility requires normalcy. You're not looking for evil. You're looking for behavioral patterns, okay? Now remember, this is a long game. So this is not a smash and grab operation. That one night stand dude, that one hit wonder, probably not a groomer if you never heard from him again, okay? Just, there are some douches out there, but not everybody's a groomer. Groomers are going to look charming. They're going to hang around. They're going to play with your emotions, but in a way that you can't get rid of them. They're definitely not the smash and grabs. They're running a campaign here. Yes, a campaign. And I say it like that because it's a lot like a marketing campaign, okay? They need to net in their target audience and then hone that target audience to buy as much from them as possible over the lifespan of that client. So because grooming runs like a good marketing campaign, they need to identify their target, mirror their target, build exclusivity, create dependency, isolate, control the narrative. And so let's break this down, okay? They're looking for a target. How are they going to select that target? They're going to look for somebody who is recently moved, recently heartbroken, creative but under mentored, right? Kind of doesn't have anybody available to hone that creativity. Estranged from their family, highly empathetic, spiritually curious, valid but hungry with intelligence. They're not looking for dumb girls. They're looking for good-hearted ones, though. Then this is where the mirroring comes in. This is the straight persuasion science. They're going to like what you like. They're going to share similar trauma. They're going to match your humor. They'll align with your values. And they'll say things like, I've never met someone who gets me like you do. This creates artificial intimacy. Your brain thinks, we're rare. This is special. It's not. It's not magic. It's called mirroring. It's a technique. Salespeople do it. Politicians do it. Actors do it. Predators do it. Okay? Specialness. That's how they isolate you, because you're special. You're not like the other ones. You're not like other girls. You're very mature for your age. You're different. Okay, that's what we call positioning language. It separates you from your peer group psychologically. Now you feel chosen. You feel powerful as the chosen one. You feel chosen because they chose you. You're the beautiful one. You're different. Chosen is isolation, okay? And where this happens, let's bring this into real life. Social apps, all of them. This happens a lot, especially if you can post about your feelings and you are. So a red flag, if you've been posting a lot of pretty pictures of you and all of a sudden a dude pops into your DMs, wants to move off platform immediately, or maybe trauma bonds really fast. Maybe, hey, how are you? And then future talks, like within a week, if they delete their app for you, if they push exclusivity super early, if they say, don't tell people about us yet. Yeah, that last one, that's secrecy. Secrecy is oxygen for grooming, okay? Healthy connections tolerate the sunlight. Healthy connections grow with environmental sources, okay? Grooming grows when nobody knows it's happening. So if you're not allowed to talk about it, there's a reason. Now, if this is a work thing, here's a piece, okay? So this one looks sneaky because it can look like a mentor. They might prefer private meetings. Maybe they favor you over your peers. They might create tension between you and your coworkers. Maybe say something like, oh, they're just jealous of you. And then maybe they invite after hours work sessions. So professional grooming is common, and it doesn't start sexual, it starts strategic. And once they understand where your boundaries lie, then things get to the point where you might not be able to get out of it. And that's why understanding the grooming techniques up front can make you a little bit stronger if you find yourself in these situations, or to just not get in these situations. But there's no victim blaming here. Things happen to everybody. This is just a way to arm yourself with some tools that maybe, you won't be like me and walk into some of these situations. Maybe you can walk past them. So if this is a dating situation and we're worried about groomers and that, you need to look for speed. Hi, how are you? Let's get married. Speed is the tell, okay? Fast intensity, fast vulnerability, fast future, fast attachment. Healthy attachment grows, okay? It doesn't explode. If someone pushes emotional intimacy before you've seen, how they handle stress or disappointment or boundaries, that's information, okay? So be careful where you give information. And that because you want to become a hard target, okay? And when people have all your information, they know everything about you, they know your boundaries, they know how you handle stress and disappointment. Soft target, babes. So you don't need to be paranoid. You just need friction. Predators need low friction personalities. So add some friction. Slow everything down. If someone rushes you with intimacy or exclusivity or secrets or living situations or emotional dependency, slow it down. Speed will protect them. Time protects you. Okay. They're going to want their results. And if you're not giving them the results, they're going to move on and it's going to hurt you with cheating or whatever that looks like. But it's much better than hurting you with grooming or trafficking. Whatever their purpose is, if you're going to weed them out, this will help. So also add some witnesses, say things like, let's do that in a group. Okay. Or I don't keep secrets from my friends. Or I like people knowing who I'm around, and watch their reactions. Healthy people don't panic at witnesses, okay? Predators will. Practice calm nose. I'm not comfortable. That's a sentence. That doesn't work for me is also a sentence. Remember some of these, okay? Practice them, say them in the car, say them wherever you are so that you're comfortable saying it, so that when it happens, your body has some muscle memory to land on. Especially if you're like me and you're kind of a pushover and go, yeah, sure, whatever, just to get out of the situation. And then, yeah. So anyway, say something like this, that doesn't work for me, or I like to move slow, or I move slow, and then observe what they do. Do they respect it? Do they negotiate it? Do they guilt you? Do they mock you? Do they start withdrawing affection? How someone handles your no is a diagnostic. Pay attention. Okay. Now, I said this a little bit earlier. Let's dive in. Don't overshare, especially early. I know we live in a trauma sharing culture, but your wounds, they're not first date content, okay? Oversharing too fast, it creates leverage, signals emotional hunger, and it gives a roadmap for manipulation. Earned intimacy is safe intimacy. And that's a big thing I want you to remember. Write it down. Earned intimacy is safe intimacy. It's okay to take time. Marketing is mind control is where I want to go a little bit, because you're going to be seeing a lot of influence everywhere, and that can be a boundary wearer downer. And I think if you have strong boundaries in terms of what is allowed to break some things in your mind in terms of commercials or whatever, then you'll be able to keep your boundaries when other things pop around. But I think when, we're hit from every direction, life gets a little harder. So here's a deeper layer. Okay, grooming works because influence works. What it does is it uses reciprocity, like gifts and attention, scarcity, like, oh, I've never felt this way, exclusivity, authority, like mentorship, bosses, elders, emotional urgency. These are all persuasion psychology, which means you don't need supernatural instincts to pick up on it. You just need pattern recognition. And you can practice this in commercials and marketing and things like that. And when you see it in those many places, you'll start seeing it more in conversations with people. Okay. And if that feels something like too intense, or if you hear something and it feels like it's rare or it's secret knowledge, how earlier in this are they doing that? That's not romance, that's strategy. Start pointing out the strategy points and just keep note in your head. Right? And give it time, because rotten fruit will fall. All right. So let me say this clearly. Most men are not predators. Most women are not predators, but predators rely on that statistic, and they hide in normalcy. You don't need to fear everyone, but you do need to watch behaviors, because behaviors over time show patterns. Sociopaths practice patterns. Healthy people can be sometimes erratic and rare and strange, but good people are not going to do sociopathic tendencies consistently in patterns. So if you can understand patterns, you'll be able to see it. Charm is not character, okay? Intensity is not intimacy. Secrecy is not romance. You need to slow down, add some witnesses, practice no, watch reactions, and remember, if someone truly values you, they can tolerate time, transparency, and boundaries. We'll keep unpacking this in the next episode, but the long game only works when you don't know the rules. So now you do.